Hello, everyone. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Lisa Orban. I am a writer, a podcaster, a YouTube contributor, and I am a domestic abuse survivor. To any that know me now, have seen my antics on YouTube, or heard my podcast, I'm sure this may come as a bit of a shock. I am not the stereotype of what an abuse survivor should look like. I am not timid, quiet, or shy. In fact, I have been told that I am funny, engaging, even hysterically funny at times. I stand a far distance from what people imagine what a domestic abuse survivor should look and act like. For many years, I never spoke of the abuse. Only a few people knew, and those that saw it, and a few that I shared it with over the years. But silence and fear is what allows abuse to continue in our society. Allows it to fester and continue generation after generation when we are too scared and too ashamed to speak of what happened. When I first sat down to write my book, I didn't know if I was ready to share those terrible times with the world. But after months of agonizing, I realized that these were the defining moments of the person I had become. And I like this person. I felt that they had needed to be shared, not only for the sake of my story, but more importantly, to let others know that they are not alone, as I was for so many years as I stayed silent, as so many others do. And so I shared my story, an honest account of the reality of abuse and the silence that surrounds it. While writing it, I tried to make my readers laugh with me, believe it or not, as well as cry, as I talked about my life and the mistakes that I had made, not always the hero, but forever trying, stumbling along, doing the best I could, trying to make the right choices, and not always succeeding, as it happens to all of us in life. We all make mistakes. We use poor judgment, or we find ourselves in a situation that we'd never imagine we'd ever be in. No one wants the world to know that someone they care about has been abusive, to open the doors and let out secrets long kept hidden, to admit to something that is so stigmatized in society, having to stand steady in the face of disbelief, even condemnation from others, with always the question of, then why did you stay? For which we often don't have a coherent answer to, because abuse is complicated, insidious, and varied in its application and its approach with each victim. A question that, whether meant to or not, lets the blame fall on the victim for not leaving, instead of the abuser for the abuse. The fear of retribution and retaliation by the abuser, their family, and even their friends adds to the compulsion to stay silent, having to muster the strength to endure the judgment of society, fearing the shame and the stigma of being considered weak, stupid, or even deserving of abuse, from people thinking that we weren't smart enough or strong enough to leave. It's time to break the silence, to shatter the stereotype, to change the conversation about abuse and its victims. I have not seen my ex-husband in 26 years. Perhaps he has changed. Perhaps not. I cannot say, and I do not even speculate in my book, nor will I now. I wrote in my book about that time, in that part of my life, the reality of my life, both the good and the bad, but never once going out of my way to villainize anyone, not even him. As a matter of fact, believe it or not, at points in the beginning, you might even find yourself liking him, as I did, as many of my readers did. No person is one-dimensional, and he was not without his virtues, or I never would have married him to begin with. And that, my friends, is what makes abuse so insidious. Abusers do not look like monsters. They are often the person you go out to have a drink with after work. They look to the outside world like everyone else, as he did, as they all do. They don't run around with signs above their heads declaring to the world, I beat my significant other or my children. It would be ever so much easier if they did, but they don't. Only by breaking the silence can we stop abuse. I have stepped forward. I have broken my silence after 26 years. I have shared with the world my life, and I hope that through my book I can let others know who have lived or are still living through that kind of life to know that there can be life after abuse, and it can be a good one. That perhaps I can give them a small bit of hope, a gentle push to leave, or the faith to know that they can survive and recover from abuse. I am not perfect. I have made mistakes. I am not the hero of my narrative. And I am sure that I will make many more mistakes. But that doesn't mean that I should forever be condemned to live a life of silence, regret, and fear. Nor should you. After leaving my abuser, I did not stay a victim. I did not sit in a corner waiting for life to end, but went out and lived. And it was hard in the beginning, but hard does not mean impossible. Since that faraway time, I have traveled, climbed pyramids, swam with the dolphins, played in the ocean, drank with the Aussies. It was a good time. And stared up at the stars from the middle of the ocean. I have eaten questionable foods from street vendors in foreign countries and laughed with strangers and made new friends from almost every part of the world, if only for a brief time. I have loved deeply, perhaps even recklessly. But even with all that has happened, I learned that I can still have an open heart. And even if it hurts at times, know that I have the strength to survive it. I have slow danced in a parking lot at midnight, sang loudly to music while shopping in the store. I have fearlessly gone out into the world with a smile on my face and a song in my heart without a moment of regret. I have lived a good life, however improbable it may have seemed while living with the devastation that is abuse. And so can you. Now is the time. Speak up. Break the silence. Know that there is hope. Know that there can be a life after abuse, and it can be a good one. Together, we can shatter the silence. You are not alone.